Oh, happy Friday morning, everybody. Welcome into Morning JOX, our final edition of the week here. Conrad Van Order and Damian Mitchell with you until 7 o'clock. Appreciate you being up early with us as we've got some United States World Cup action to talk about today. As I'm sure many of you, if you stayed up maybe a little extra tired this morning, a late start last night for the United States, but an exciting game nonetheless. Unfortunately, it's a game that, well, fortunately, it's a game that didn't matter because unfortunately, the United States did not come out on top, but it was still very entertaining nonetheless last night there out in Los Angeles. So we'll spend some time on that. We'll talk what's going on in the world of college football as well. Have a couple of fun conversations that I think we can have in the college football realm today because it's been a lot of business this week, right? Whether it's the new eligibility terms or what's going on with the Protect College Sports Act, et cetera. Just a lot of things going on that, have serious impact on what's going to happen on the field. But before too long, we're about 2 months away from the start of college football season.
Yes,
Like,
sir.
it will be here before we know it, and it's time to start taking a look at some of the things that are going to take place on the field and what the landscape is going to look like in the SEC and here in the state of Alabama with Auburn and the Crimson Tide. So, a number of things that we'll get into today. If you want to be a part of the fun, be a part of the show, 205-834-9450. There is how you get on the text line, 1-800-239-WJOX. If you want to call in on the phone lines and be a part of the fun there. But we will start out in Los Angeles, California last night, where the United States was taking on Turkey.
Formerly known as.
Turkey.
There we go.
But apparently I'm not supposed to. It's polite to call them Turkey because that's what they want to be called now, and so
It's new.
we'll roll with that. It is. I saw
it's
a lot of
new.
people. I'm glad that I wasn't the only one that is kind of like. I guess I missed the memo on this one. This one, maybe there's just a lot of things going on in the world, and so a name or pronunciation change like this just kind of, just kind of forget about it a little bit. But
flew under the radar.
yeah, but to each their own. But fresh off the new name there, the new pronunciation, it had been a rough World Cup run for Turkey. They had been shut out until last night's match. They were already eliminated going into it, so it was really more just about pride last night on their side of things. It was kind of about keeping the momentum on the U.S. side of things because we had already clinched our group a couple of days ago, so we knew. We're moving on to the knockout round, and we know we're going to play Bosnia and Herzegovina. Don't have to worry about that. Turkey, they know that they're going home after this match. So, there's really nothing to play for. And so you saw a U.S. squad out there that looked a little different for much of the match with some certain guys getting rested or rotated out and some of the, I guess, the reserves getting more of an opportunity to go out there and show what they can do. So it was a thrilling game though, and it looked like the United States was going to continue their tear because they scored like 3 minutes into the game, and I'm sitting there watching it going, I'll be the first person to admit, like I don't know a ton about soccer, but I was texting people after that like, dude, these people are really bad at soccer. Like, we're about to crush them because I'm like, you don't score 3 minutes into a soccer game. Like, that doesn't happen.
It's about to get ugly.
Yeah, I was like, this is here we go. Like they've already they've mailed it in, right? They're eliminated. They don't want to be here anymore. But I was absolutely dead wrong about that. So you got to give a shout out to Turkey because they absolutely played with some fire last night. So the U.S. they score 3 minutes into the match, then Turkey scores in the 10th minute. So pretty quickly, it's like, oh, okay, like. All right, I guess there's a reason that they did qualify for the World Cup, so they'll be here. So that was their first goal of the World Cup, though. So that was good for them, and an exciting moment there on their side of things. But they tied up there. They would actually go up 2-1 in the first half. Turkey would over the U.S. and after the first couple of minutes, you could tell it's like, okay, these are the reserves. Like maybe the fire's not there, and it doesn't look the way that it normally does. And then the U.S. would come back and tie it 2-2 pretty early in the second half. So it was a really, really exciting second half. You got to see Christian Pulisic. He came back from his calf injury in the 57th minute. He checked in and played a good bit of time there in the second half. And I know a lot of people were, why would you put him in the game? And I mean, he's the United. If you're not familiar, he is the best player on the U.S. men's national team. And he had a calf injury, and they kept him out of the previous matchup against Australia. But you want to get the juice back a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Give him a chance to go out there with the guys and kind of get back in the swing of things
Mm-hmm.
before, an elimination round coming up next week. So it was cool to get to see him out there. Had a couple of opportunities to score. Couldn't convert them, unfortunately, but it was still a lot of fun to watch nonetheless. And finally, though, it looked like this game was going to go to overtime because you had 7 minutes of extra time at the end of regulation, and it was still tied at 2-2. And then lo and behold, with 97 minutes and like 40 seconds or whatever it was, Turkey, they scored a goal. They won 3-2, so they get to go home with some pride that they came over to the United States and beat us, even though they're still eliminated. It didn't have any effect on anything. And for the United States, that it stings a little bit, right? Because you had them and you had many opportunities. I felt like, no expert again, but felt like many opportunities to score that just a little bit off. But in terms of like shots on goal, how often we had pressure on their side of the field, and it just felt like we were in control of a lot of that game,
Mm-hmm.
and you didn't find a way to win.
And I don't and listen, I'm with you. I don't really know soccer that well. I was just watching it for American pride's sake, just to,
Yeah.
And I could tell. I was like, okay, the guys look a little different from what I've seen so far in the World Cup, and it's the equivalent of an NFL team that's already solidified their playoff spot, resting their starters in the last game, and the results don't necessarily matter, but you just play for pride. And shout out to Turkey. It took a while, but they ended up with congratulations on the way out.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got you one. You got you one. But I think that now advancing on to the knockout stages, this is where, everything starts to ramp up. And I think for the U.S., it stinks that we didn't get it done. We didn't, go undefeated. But I do think that we're still in an ideal spot. We just probably our two deep looks a little bit different. We're probably not going to be exhausting the bench as much.
Yeah, well, you're gonna, you'll see the starting guys out there on Wednesday, and it'll look different. And good to get Pulisic some minutes out there, and hopefully he'll be able to go and be 100% or closer to 100% in the round of 32, the knockout round that's coming up. So the next time you'll get to watch the U.S. is Wednesday. They will take on Bosnia-Herzegovina at 7 o'clock there at Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, California. It'll be, again, a 7 o'clock start there, and that match, the United States is an early favorite. So hopefully we can continue on, and you win this one, and, then you're, looking at a Sweet 16 berth. As to use American sports terminology, you're in the Sweet 16. So that would be a heck of an accomplishment there. And, hopefully you don't lose in the 97th plus minute because, okay. And we were talking about this before the show. I just don't, and I understand because I went and I looked it up, and I understand why it is the way that it is in soccer, or why the rule is the way that it is, where you have the extra time, and even if the extra time is technically over or they exceed the limit, if another team is pressuring the other team's goal, or they have, possession on their side of the field, essentially, they're going to give them a little bit to, try to win in dramatic fashion at the very end, which is exactly what happened with Turkey last night. But, like, am I crazy to feel like that seems just, like, that's just one of those things where I could see it being off-putting for people about soccer, where you're sitting there and you're going, okay, so the game's supposed to be over after 97 minutes. We're getting really close to 98 minutes. Why is the game still going on? I understand it's soccer. They have a different set of rules and a different way of operating. But, like, I look at it like, the clock's over in regulation of a football game, but you have the ball in the red zone, and the refs are like, just keep going. You're really close. Like you're so close, so close. Just keep going.
We'll finish it out.
Yeah, we're not going to look at the clock anymore. Just keep going. Best of luck to you. Or instead of going to extra innings in baseball, it's like, well, you've got a runner in scoring position. I know you just got your third out, but well, we'll give you a fourth out. Like, go out there and try to win. Like, I know it's different. I know it's not our version of football. It's just one of those things where I'm watching it. I'm like,
it just doesn't make
this
sense.
kind of feels stupid to me.
Correct.
Like, sorry. It's the same thing with having ties and I know people, well, you tie in the NFL and that's not stupid. I'm like, okay, but in the World Cup, like this is the ultimate postseason grand tournament of the sport, and you've got ties galore. Like that just doesn't sit right with me. Just like when I see that we've got 7 extra minutes of time and we're past that and the game's still going on, I'm like why?
What was the point of the 7 minutes?
Yeah,
like,
it's a suggestion at that point. The clock,
right.
and I know some people probably go, oh, this guy just doesn't like soccer. Just little weird to me, a little off-putting.
Yeah, it's just I'm with you. If somebody could explain it, of like what's the premise behind something like that, like in case of why this happens. But I'm with you. If it says 7 minutes of stoppage time and we're pretty much going to 98 minutes, we're just suggesting that, hey, 7 minutes are allotted for this space, but you still got some more. I don't get it. Like I genuinely don't. Soccer's just not my thing, so I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm dumb for bringing that up. It just from somebody that doesn't watch a lot of soccer,
Right.
watching stuff like that, that's where you're just like, this is okay. We're just kind of going with it, I guess. Okay, like someone texted in on the text line 205-834-9450. They say, well, the first couple minutes of the extra time were spent on an injury, so it made sense to give them more than the 7 minutes. Okay, see, I
didn't know that.
So you can add extra time to the extra time,
Right?
Like, I guess I'm assuming that this person knows what they're talking, or watches more soccer than we do. But
so however long it takes for the injured player to get off is like the allotted.
Well, that's kind of like how the extra time works, right? It's them saying, okay, well, maybe you had an injury and we took a couple minutes there, or this is how many times the ball went out of bounds and they had to go and reset and throw it in and stuff like that. Like that's where they come up with how much extra time you get at the end of the game. I guess my confusion was more so, like think about it as almost like all the extra time. Like okay, in American football, all right, you score a touchdown. All right, then it takes a little bit for the field goal unit to get out there. Then you do the PAT. Then they run off the field. You just have all that dead time.
Yeah,
like that's essentially what the dead time is. What they
for.
they go, oh, okay, well, it feels like we had 7 minutes of dead time, so you get 7 extra minutes at the end of regulation.
Gotcha.
Like that's kind of how that works. But I didn't know if you could have the 7 extra minutes, and then if like somebody gets injured, then you go, oh, well, we'll just tack on 2 more minutes.
Right? Yeah. That's confusing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. See. Okay. Thank you. See, Zach texts. Says yes. More extra time could be added to extra time. Okay. Didn't know that.
Simple. Appreciate it.
Learning as we go. Learning as we go. I just thought that was kind of weird last night, but nonetheless, congratulations to Turkey A, as they will go home at least a small victor as they took down the United States last night. But the United States already had the group wrapped up, and they will be back in action on Wednesday with the World Cup hopes on the line. So going to be very exciting, and we'll talk more about that next week. But we'll get away from the soccer conversation now. We're going to talk some college football coming up in a little bit, but we've also got an interesting change coming or being proposed, I guess, in the world of Major League Baseball. And unfortunate reality is that it's really looking like we might not have Major League Baseball next year. So we'll tell you what the Major League Baseball owners want to happen and why that is not going to be good for the players, and why it's ultimately probably not going to work out and could cause some massive issues for the 2027 Major League Baseball season. So that's all coming up next right here on Morning JOX. 619, welcome back into Morning JOX here on your Friday morning. Conrad and Damien with you until 7 o'clock when we will hand you off to McElroy and Kublik in the morning. So, spent the first segment recapping the United States in the World Cup as Turkey A won that one 3-2, and a lot of people chiming in on the text line actually about didn't think this would spark such a good conversation, but I'm glad that it did. But a lot of people chiming in on the clock situation because I brought up if you missed it last night, Turkey A, they won the game 3-2. They scored in the 97th minute and change, so like 97 minutes and 30 seconds or 40 seconds, whatever it was exactly. And there were 7 extra minutes put onto the clock. So as somebody that doesn't watch a lot of soccer, you get to the 97-minute mark and you're like, oh, great. Okay, we're going overtime. Like that's because that's how the clock works in American football, or basketball, right? Like, okay, we're done with the time. And, but that's not apparently how it works in soccer. And a lot of you providing some good context on the text line, including some of you. So, like Goose chimes in, he says, there's more stoppage time. If there is more stoppage and stoppage time, more time is ultimately added. Zach let us know that there's actually a second clock that runs that keeps track of the dead time. That's how they get the extra time amount. Apparently, it just doesn't show up on the screen on TV when you're watching, but on the field, they are monitoring that, which, and me and Damon were talking in the break. I'm like, because we, have so much discussion around, officiating and our sports and how frustrating people get with it. And I'm like, I'm just trying to imagine, like, if soccer was as big as as like the NFL or college football was to us over here, and how passionate people get about the intricacies of the game. Like, surely there's soccer officials out there, like in the Premier League or something, that have a reputation of, oh, this dude keeps a bad clock or something. And like people are getting mad because I thought we were only going to get, 5 minutes of extra time and they gave them 8 and we lost in the 7th minute of extra time or something. And there's like these huge controversies about like how well they keep the clock and stuff. I don't know. Maybe that doesn't happen, but I'm trying to imagine where in a game where it feels like there's a little bit of that, like, we're just kind of going off vibes here. Like,
yeah,
we're just going to kind of go with it and
kind of eyeball it. It's like, hey, I got 4.5. We'll just go round up 5.
Yeah.
We can 5.
Like, I'm just imagining American sports fans losing their mind over stuff like that.
And also, like, it would be so hard to do in football because of just how much stoppage there is, like how much time there is between different plays.
Oh, yeah, you'd be shocked if you get to the end and be like, all right, we're playing an extra 22 minutes.
Right.
And you're like, oh, my God.
Right. And then you, like they said, you add into injuries and things like that. Man, games would be 7 hours long. We wouldn't, like, American football couldn't.
Yeah, no, we couldn't. I couldn't do that. Let's see. Somebody says, I see, and then like Jamie, he says, my question is just why when they celebrate after scoring a goal, why does the clock keep running? It seems like that's where they make up a lot of the extra time. Yeah, and I guess you can do that because, in most matches they're not scoring a ton.
Right.
And so you're like, okay, well, that's, 2 minutes or whatever. They'll add back onto the clock there. But
start adding it up.
Yeah, it is it really is like a hot clock. There's no doubt about it. Some people are chiming. It's just fun. You see, we're all learning these things together. Like Drake even chimed in. He said, guys, I did not know how much soccer players made. Yeah, you want to see some crazy contracts. Go look at how much some of these soccer players make and how, other teams will have to buy like the rights to a player from another organization. And they're, spend like hundreds of millions of dollars for the right to negotiate with these. Like, it's crazy. It really is crazy. Will chimes in. He says, why can we not just stop the freaking clock?
Right. It's incomplete pass.
Yeah.
Come on now. Stop the clock.
I don't know. They just do things. They do that differently. See, somebody says, man, that's honestly really cool. What if they did that in American football? It's like, well, as we just kind of talked about, you'd be there for a while.
Yeah. I was like, hope you don't have anything to do on Saturdays.
They'll be there for a while. Let's see. Somebody, Don says, he says, I agree with you. I don't know a ton about soccer, but now they have these hydration breaks and the clock never stops running during the game. The refs add extra time for injuries also. It is the official's decision to stop the clock and end the game. Yeah, I mean, I understand that part of it, but again, that's where I was just and again, I understand that if you have the ball in scoring trying to use American sports terms here, but if you have it in scoring position, it's like, okay, we'll let them, kind of finish this out for a couple minutes or two. But it does make sense with the I didn't know that you could add extra time to the extra
To the
time.
extra time. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that makes sense why they're kind of letting things go there. Let's see. This text says, I don't understand the dead time either, but it would make more sense overall if the clock counted down from 90 minutes instead of up to 90. And then you have a separate clock for dead time that counts down. And if time is added, it could then show up on the screen. That seems like it would help make more sense to the viewers. I would agree with that, but maybe that's just part of being a soccer fan is like the unknown mystery of it is like, oh, they're going to let us keep going here.
Yeah. Listen, and again, it's a worldwide sport, and the popularity is obviously there. It's
Hmm.
just it's a lot to process
Yeah.
watching a game,
Yeah.
but it is exciting.
But I appreciate all the text of people trying to help us out and explain it. So I'm glad a lot of people seem to watch the game last night. A lot of people are, well informed on how soccer goes and the nitty gritty of it. So I appreciate that. I'm glad it resonated with some people. I just kind of focus on the American football. So you watch some of these differences and you're just like, this would drive me nuts if this is
Yeah.
how it worked in college or the NFL. But nonetheless, so be it there. But you can continue the conversation, 205-834-9450 if you also want to get on the text line. But moving forward, before we get to college football, I did want to share this and get to this for just a moment here. So if you're not familiar, there's been a belief for a while now that there's going to be an issue with the new CBA agreement and essentially a butting of heads between the ownership and the Players Association and MLB that could have a lockout next year and either have a reduced season or no season at all for 2027 in Major League Baseball. And I saw this report that came out yesterday, and I think this is a pretty clear example of how far apart these two sides are when it comes to having an agreement and making an agreement that would allow us to have a full season next year. Um, so the league has proposed some changes to contract length, contract size, salary size, and essentially trying to put a cap on how much players can make, and not a salary cap in the sense of they want that too, or they have that too, but um, in terms of how much an individual player can make on his contract. So right now, there's no salary cap in Major League Baseball. They want to implement a salary cap in baseball as well as a floor to try to keep things competitive. But now, Major League Baseball is trying to make it where essentially no player is going to be able to make more than around $40 million in a given season. So if you go and you look at the exact breakdown of it, the idea would be that free agents now would not be able to sign contracts for more than 5 years. That would be the cap on free agent contracts. And you look at like what Juan Soto's signed for like a 12-year deal or something crazy like that. You have a lot of players that are double-digit years or close to double-digit years in terms of their contract length. But now they want to limit that to 5 years for free agent contracts. But if you're re-signing a player on your own team, it can go up to a 6-year contract. And so the 5-year contracts would max out around $202 million, whereas the 6-year contracts for retaining players would max out at $265 million. So pretty crazy there. And obviously the Players Association is not going to do this because it's like, oh, okay, so you're putting a cap on how much you players can make. And from that side of things, yes, I don't think that's good. And you're never going to really win in these, those anti-capitalistic principles when you're having these negotiations, right? Because you're stifling how much players can potentially earn or what the market could dictate for them. But it would probably be healthy for the game, right? Because you'd have, more movement on the free agent market, and I think things like that could be good. But yeah, that's going to be a non-starter for a number of people, and the Players Association immediately pushed back on this yesterday and called out the ownership for being selfish and caring more about maximizing profits and essentially capping billions of dollars worth of salary that players could make in the near future under the near agreement. And it's just another example of why it's really looking likely that we will not have a full MLB season in 2027. And it is very much so possible that we will not have a season whatsoever. So the good news is they said, hey, we'll raise the minimum to $1 million. So, you know, you're guaranteed to make at least $1 million if you're on a Major League Baseball roster for a full season. So that's good.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we'll throw that at you, but
We're gonna
yes,
not too much.
yes. They also mentioned the idea of stopping deferred contracts. So, like the Otani deal, where he's making $70 million a year, but the Dodgers are only, I guess, technically paying like $2 million of it a year, and then they're gonna pay it out over
Yeah.
30 years or whatever it is. They want to get rid of those deals.
They
So
gonna
no more Bobby Bonilla.
Yeah. Waking up was it July 1st?
It happened a couple days ago, I think.
Yeah. Waking up and seeing that check from the New York Mets, like, appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
Needed this one.
Yeah. So it's definitely interesting stuff there, but uh, yeah, Major League Baseball, they've got a long ways to go, it feels like. And it feels very similar, right, to, and it's completely different situations, but you could maybe compare it to what we've got with like the college football playoff or the Protect College Sports Acts, and where you have these two sides that are very adamant that they are on complete opposite sides of the fence, and they're not willing to budge, and they're just kind of, it's playing like a game of chicken, right? Like you're waiting for one side to give in a little bit, and until that happens there's not going to be a lot of movement. So hopefully it doesn't go the way of college football playoff expansion, where we just have no idea when that thing's going to get sorted out, but certainly not looking great right now for Major League Baseball. But that's enough. That's enough business talk. That's enough of that stuff. We'll have some fun. Let's have some fun. Let's dive into some college football talk. We'll have plenty of that coming up for you if you want to join in on the fun. 205-834-9450, 1-800-239-9569. You're listening to Morning Jocks on a Friday. 6:36 here on your Friday. Conrad Van Order, Damian Mitchell here with you. Getting you ready for another fantastic weekend. So we'll call it the pregame to the July 4th weekend. So
Let's do it.
that's the big one coming up next weekend. So this one,
Yes,
you're
sir.
just kind of getting things ready, getting all your affairs in order. But hopefully, will be a lot of fun, and we'll be back with you on Monday, of course, to recap everything that happened over the weekend. But we're going to get into some college football conversation now, as we've spent most of the first half of the show talking World Cup and Major League Baseball. So let's get into the good stuff here in the college football world. And we talked about, I guess it was on Monday or Tuesday, we had the conversation about the top wide receivers in college football. And I know Damien had some pushback on some of those. I had some pushback on a couple of those. And it was a fun conversation as we get ready for the season. So I wanted to take a look at some quarterbacks today. And we have had these rankings kind of rolling out all week long, courtesy of EA Sports and the college football 27 video game that'll be coming out here in, I guess, a couple of weeks. But they've been putting out all of their different player rankings, team rankings, stadium rankings, things like that. And, it's kind of a fun conversation. We talked about a few of them on Three Man Front earlier in the week. But I want to talk quarterbacks here and get Damien's thoughts on these. But before we do that, I did think this was just kind of a fun question. So if you've seen this, maybe you'll get it. But if you haven't, I don't think you're going to get this right. So they released their list of the top 10 overall players in college football yesterday. There is one school that has 2 of the top 10 players in college football overall. What school do you think that would be?
Ohio State.
It is an SEC school.
Really? Texas.
Nope.
Hmm.
Missouri.
Ahmad Hardy. And who else?
Caden Green.
Okay.
So, I mean,
Wouldn't have thought that, but
I just thought that was interesting. So
wow.
yeah, you have a running back and offensive lineman there from
Yeah.
Missouri. So they are the, according to EA Sports, and the way that they have their players ranked in the video game. Yeah, Missouri is the only school that has 2 players in the top 10 players.
Okay. I mean, I'm not gonna start my dynasty with Mizzou anyway, but good information to know.
I just thought that was.
So I won't be able to send past
You could have
Missouri
given me
week.
about 30 guesses.
Yeah, I wouldn't have
before I got Missouri on
nah,
that one.
wouldn't have got that one.
I just certainly did not see that one coming. Okay. Anyways, though, moving on, we do have the top quarterbacks in college football according to EA Sports, and we'll start off at number 10. Damien, you'll tell us you think these guys belong. They're too high, they're too low, and if so, who would you replace them with? So at number 10, we have the pride of the Oklahoma Sooners, John Mateer, coming off the thumb injury that we saw him have to deal with a lot of last year. Would you say that John Mateer is a top 10 quarterback in college football going into the season?
No. And I love John Mateer.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he's top 10 right now after what I saw last year. But on the game, the playbook helps.
Well, mobile quarterbacks and
yeah, dual threat.
I was explaining this
dual
to
threat
Pat.
archetype.
I was explaining it to Pat Landrum the other day how like mobile quarterbacks are a little
They're a little juiced up.
yeah, it's a little unfair. So, but I don't think he'll be like Michael Vick and Matt. But yeah, John Mateer is maybe a little bit, but
A little bit.
maybe they know something we don't know. I have Noah Fafita, at number 9. Maybe like 2 years ago, I could.
That's bad.
No.
But he's also I don't think he's a top 10.
So, these 2 guys, for me, I was definitely surprised that they were in the top 10. Now, the next 8 guys, I think it's like, okay, yeah, these are the guys that you would kind of expect to see on this list. So maybe they're splitting hairs there, but I'll just go ahead and tell you, Gunnar Stockton is not on this in the top 10.
Really?
I would definitely take Gunnar Stockton over both of those guys.
Oh, wouldn't even think twice.
Yeah.
Wow.
I thought that was kind of interesting that
Darian Mensah?
he is on the list.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
he's
okay.
on the list. But yeah, I was just like when I was looking through, I was like, man, I can't believe Gunner's not on there. And then not saying the other guys aren't good, but
Right, but
just
I'm taking
I would take Gunner over
yes.
them at least. Just thinking through some SEC names real quick. But okay, getting into the top 8. At number 8, you have Sam Levitt. They're at LSU, the Arizona State transfer. Like, okay,
That's fair.
I can rock with that.
Yeah.
Like,
I have no issues.
no problem with that. At number 7, you have Darian Mensah. You
Yeah.
just brought him up from Miami. I think that one, and there's there's tough competition here. Again, you're kind of splitting hairs with some of these guys, but like I think you could see him being higher up on the list at the end of the year,
Correct.
based on how he performs. At number 6, they have Arch Manning.
So they're not glazing them all the way, but they still
He's still good,
yeah.
but they're they're letting you
But
know.
Gunnar Stockton isn't up there.
Would you have Gunner over Arch Manning?
Yes.
No, Gunner's not on the list, but Arch is at number 6. All right, at number 5, let's see if you agree with this top 5. And maybe, you agree with them, but you'd move the order around, something like that. Number 5, CJ Carr at Notre Dame.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Number 4, Jaden Mayava
Yeah.
at USC.
That's I'm
You
I
good
can
with
accept that.
Okay, you rock with that. At number 3, they've got your boy Trinidad.
Okay. We get a full season of them, so yeah. Okay, I can guess who's 1 and 2 then.
Okay, so who's number 2 and who's number 1?
I'm going to say Julian Sayin is number 2. And number 1. Dante Moore?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You got it right. Sayin's number 2 and Dante Moore's number 1.
Okay.
So you're not sold on Dante Moore being the best quarterback in college football,
Right.
Going into
the season. Like I think Trinidad Chambliss has more of an argument than Dante Moore.
So you would put Trinidad. So would you have Trinidad at number 1 as like the best returning quarterback in college football?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would have him, even if I wasn't an Ole Miss fan. Like I think he would be number 1 because I look at the way that he impacts it. Like for as good as Ole Miss offense is, like he is in full control. Like he has the help of having Kejuan Lacey in the backfield with him. But when it comes down to the plays that are made and the big time throws that he's done, like he has, and the utilization of his legs, like I would have Trinidad Chambliss in number 1 because when he's on, it is like it's guns a blazing. But he does have those lulls in the middle of the games where it's like, dang, come on, like get it together. But also, I just remember his performance against Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. Like it's hard not to deny like that. He was the best player on the football field at that time.
It is very impressive.
But I do like
no doubt
Dante
about
Moore
it.
though. Like
yeah, I do too.
I don't know. Like Jordan, you know who else I have a problem? Not necessarily a problem with, but it's so hard to get like a solid read on him. Is Jaden Mayava as well? Like I think Jaden Mayava's upside is like through the absolute roof because he can throw that thing. But like because he doesn't, and there's no shot at him. He's not asked to do all these things, but he doesn't have the elusiveness as what Caleb Williams had when he was at USC, where it's like he's just different. Like you just look at him and it's like, man, he can spin it. But because he's not asked to do a lot of the things with like his legs, like the utilization of his legs, I would like to see a little bit more. But if you don't have to do it and still throwing for 4,000 yards and some change, I understand. But I just think that he adds another dynamic if he could actually get loose a little bit, which I don't think Dante Moore is. I don't mean this as a shot. I don't think Dante Moore is tough. Like I don't.
Like in the sense of he's not.
Like I don't think he's a willing runner. Like he has the ability, but he doesn't want to use it. You know who he reminds me of in college?
Who's that?
Deshaun Watson. Like I think they're very
like he can do it, but
almost chooses not to.
Yeah.
And I think that can kind of hinder you a little bit because it's like, man, you got some green grass, go get it. Like you have it. And I don't think Trinidad Chambliss does that. It's hey, if it ain't there, I'm gonna get it, and he has a potential to break it over the top. So you can. I don't necessarily have a problem with it, but I would have Trinidad over Dante Moore. But I think Julian Sayin has kind of solidified him as that 2 spot. Like I don't think he's better than either Dante Moore or Trinidad Chambliss on their best. If they're all playing their best, but he also isn't like 4 or 5. Like he's in that 3. He's within the top 3 for sure.
Yeah, I also feel like he kind of fits into the problem that you've had with Ohio State, where I think he's excellent, but you also kind of look at it and you go, well, look at who you're throwing to, look at the system that you're playing with, and all the guys
Correct.
around you. Like it's kind of like how Alabama quarterbacks were for a while
Yeah.
there, where you're just, it's like I know you're good, but like how good are you really? Because it's just it's kind of it's made very easy for you with the talent that you have around you and the way the offense is run, and it just kind of helps them out a little bit there. So it's like, okay, if we took you out of that system, like would you be just as good? Would you not be
Correct.
just as good? But I mean, hey, you got you're on the team that you're on, and you're surrounded by the players you are, so it works.
Like I think for Julian Sayin, like I don't know what his skill set is because the system is so tailor made for him to have success.
Yeah.
Like what all does he bring individually? Because I think like the system, the play calling, the pieces that he has, he doesn't have to do it. So I get it. So he doesn't. So if you let's just say, do you think he's better than C.J. Stroud was when he was at Ohio State?
I would still say no.
Justin Fields.
I think there's things he does better than Justin Fields, but he's not as dynamic, so I would say
right.
no.
So like because he's definitely better than what was Brown and the other guy. Who was the other guy they had?
Oh, Devin Brown and
Can't think of the other guy, but I know he's better. He's better than those two.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like again, it's just the system it's just tailor made.
See, I think he's better than Will Howard when they won the national championship.
Yeah. And Will Howard was a true beneficiary of. Man, I have all these pieces around me. I'm not gonna mess it up. I'm not gonna mess it up.
Yeah, no, that's a good point there. Well, all right, so those are the top 10 quarterbacks in college football for the upcoming season. Some of our thoughts there. Love to hear from you. Some of you chiming in with your takes as well on the text line, 205-834-9450. We will hear from you, hear your thoughts on that, and get you set for the weekend when we return here on Morning JOX. Final few moments of the week here on Morning Jocks. Conrad and Damien with you. Appreciate you being along for the ride with us. We'll be back on Monday, of course, to recap the weekend that was. But before we get out of here, got to remind you about our friends at Train, because a long summer of heat and humidity, well, we're in the middle of it now, and you want to keep your home and family comfortable with America's most reliable HVAC brand. That is Train. And to help you out, Train is offering up to a $1,350 rebate on select home comfort systems. You can learn more and find a specialist near you today at train.com. So coming up tonight, the Atlanta Braves will try to get back into the win column as they have lost 4 in a row now. They'll be taking on the San Francisco Giants there on the road in San Fran. So a 9:15 first pitch. So if you were watching, the soccer game last night, it'll be a similar schedule for you tonight, and you can hear that game on JOX, of course. But big weekend series there coming up for the Atlanta Bravos in San Francisco. Some of you chiming in, though, on our college football conversation, the top 10 quarterbacks in college football going into the season. And we will wrap up the week there on the JOX text line with Antoine. He chimes in. He says, I'm an Alabama fan, and I would also agree that Trinidad Chambliss is number one all day. So he agrees with Damien that he thinks Trinidad Chambliss would be number one. On the EA Sports ranking, he is number 3, but he is number 1 in the SEC. So that's certainly something there. Joseph chimes in. He says, I agree. I'm really surprised with you guys that Gunnar Stockton was not in the top 10.
Yeah, I think Gunnar Stockton gets disrespected.
No, he doesn't get the credit.
Oh my God,
doesn't get the credit that he deserves. I would definitely. I mean, you could probably, and you could convince me of, like, I think Sam Levitt's gonna be really good, but like coming off an injury, like I'd roll the dice on Gunnar Stockton over Levitt.
Mm-hmm.
That's another one that we didn't really talk about as much there. But yeah, I was surprised he wasn't in the top 10. Let's see. Josh from Boaz says, no one at EA Sports actually watches ball. They just know if you're on the cover of the game, you automatically get better rating.
Helps.
It doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Like, there's no doubt about that. And this one says, from Doug, it says, fun list and discussion, but remember, before last year, some of the names you would have been talking about were Cade Klubnik, Drew Aller, and DJ Lagway.
2 of the 3 for sure. I ain't never thought Drew Aller was going to be like, nah, that boy ace.
Mac